Hey everyone, I'm Devlin Reiley, and we are here with Reiley's Roundup. And I have Angela Rivers. She is the resource parent recruiter for UMFS. We're going to find out a little bit about Angela, how she came to Fredericksburg, and what she's currently doing for her job. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so you were here not too long ago, right?
That's correct.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, we're hopefully going to have a little more to talk about outside of what you did at that first podcast. So please tell me about your history here in Fredericksburg.
So I grew up in Fairfax,
Okay.
actually. And my husband and I lived in a 2-bedroom condo for more than we paid for.
I was going to say,
here.
absolutely.
So we had just had our son.
Okay.
And my husband's family's from Roanoke. So we thought that Fredericksburg was kind of in between.
Yeah.
So that the grandparents could each visit and it wasn't as difficult for them to come and stay with us and see the grandkids.
Sweet. Yeah.
And at the time, I wanted a very large family, like a whole basketball team.
Wow.
So we wanted a bunch of land and all these bedrooms and what seemed like a monster house that we moved into 6 years ago when we moved to Fredericksburg.
Right.
And now I think we're almost outgrowing because you do that with all the stuff.
Absolutely. Yes, we are collectors. But where are you at with that basketball team?
Not very far, no. We have 2 kids.
Yeah.
And we felt after 2 that we had a boy and a girl. And
Same boat. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it was their best friends. And I felt like if I had a third, that it would jeopize
They're
them.
best friends?
They are
really?
best friends.
They don't
for sure.
fight? Oh my gosh. You'll have to teach me.
Occasionally.
Yeah.
But it's more like my daughter's just not getting her way.
Okay.
So,
Interesting. And your son's older.
He is.
So maybe that's a nice dynamic to have.
It is. They're just so great together.
Yeah.
And we moved down here.
Yeah.
I was very sick for a long time. And so we never really thought we would have a family. We never really thought that we would own a big home. We thought the condo life was going to be it.
Yeah.
And it, sporadically changed. And so.
Well, that's something I wasn't aware of. So you were sick.
I have late-stage Lyme disease.
Oh, wow.
So I was paralyzed from the waist down for 8 years.
Oh, my gosh.
Bedridden. We were newlyweds. We got married in 2006.
Yeah.
And a year later, I woke up one morning and couldn't move.
Wow. Mm-hmm. So 8 years paralyzed from the waist down. Yeah. What happened? Like, how did you get to be mobile again?
A lot of therapy.
Yeah.
Physical therapy. A lot of medication, a lot of IVs.
Wow.
Daily.
Yeah.
Home nurse. It was hard. It challenged our relationship.
Yeah.
But I really feel like it happened for a reason. I pride myself on things happening for a reason.
Yeah.
And I think it brought me to where I am today. For the longest time they said I couldn't have kids. And we were filling out paperwork to foster or to adopt with 2 different agencies to see what was the right fit.
Yeah.
And then it brought me to where I am today.
I know someone who had nowhere near the experience with Lyme disease, but it was more than I was aware of, and it is a mental game too.
It's terrible.
I'm so happy that you are where you're at now. So the future with this, like, what do you have to do?
I stay in really good balance.
Yeah.
Eat as best as you can. I mean, we all have our things we love.
Yeah. Yeah.
But just, really try not to live very stressful.
Yeah.
A lot of stressful things happened in my life when I got really sick. And I think it brought it on.
Wow.
Because I remember being sick as a kid and it laying dormant.
Wow. That's incredible. Virginia's such a tough state for that.
It
is. And people don't even know how serious that can be. So you mentioned, and this is it's like the full circle. Mm-hmm. So you talked about it led you to filling out paperwork to foster a child.
A really good friend of mine, she's more like a sister to me, a family friend. She was really big into fostering and still is and adopting in Fairfax. And so I started to do some volunteer work with them and really got to know what it's like to be on the other side.
Yeah.
And what the kids are going through. And so because we didn't think we could have children, we started filling out paperwork because we did want that basketball family.
Absolutely.
And when I was about to submit the paperwork, I realized that I was pregnant.
So then that amazing, and that was with your son,
Mm-hmm.
and so which you just said he's about to start kindergarten, which is crazy.
It goes by so fast.
It really does, and it's the moments there's some moments that seem so long, but then when you look back, everything just goes by so quickly.
It really, really does.
So then did that lead to you working at UMFS?
I in my heart, I think it did.
Yeah.
I was, a new mom of two, moved to a new area. I didn't know a lot of people, and I became a consultant and did a lot of recruiting in the area.
Okay.
And I feel that led me to where I am today as
Yeah.
well. Big believer in everything happens for a reason. So one thing kind of led to the next, and I feel that, both my kids were in school. I was looking for a really great job, something I could, retire with, a place to call home, and it showed up in my inbox one day as a place to apply, and I did, and I'm really so thankful that I got the job with
That's amazing.
with them, and I'm helping so many children now, way more than I could have if I just did it myself.
So tell me about, do you guys just service the Fredericksburg region?
Yes, so we do from Northern Virginia to Richmond. We have different centers. UMFS is Virginia-based, so we have different centers throughout all of Virginia.
Wow.
But my locality, where I recruit, and the families we serve are local to us.
So there's the pandemic has been so crucial to everybody, but how has that affected, recruiting families and the children's mentality?
Yeah, it has been, just as steady. Recruiting,
Good.
even faster, I think, which is really lovely. Some people are finding that they've been thinking about it for a long time,
and this gave them maybe a push to do it.
Did,
That's as sad and scary as this has been. There have been a few things in life, in my personal life, where I go, wow, I wouldn't have been doing this or made that decision if life hadn't slowed down and just been flipped upside down.
Yeah, we move so fast all the time.
Yeah, we do.
And sometimes people just need to breathe.
Yeah.
And think, a lot of people are saying, it's really important to me, and I didn't realize that I could do it until I was given a moment to really think or really pray about it.
Wow. So what is the need like in Fredericksburg for these children? What are we looking at?
Yeah, so there is a really large need.
Yeah.
In Virginia, there's over 5,000 statistically in foster care with people coming into the system all the time.
Right.
In our local region, we have over 200 as a yearly average, and it's really picking up since COVID. A lot of families that have already been struggling, because of COVID, they're struggling even harder, and then their children have to go into the system. So,
that's so sad. So not just a child being born and a mother giving the child up for adoption, but children that are already in families and the families can't. So it's so important for them to find loving homes. And I think you were here talking last week or the week before about was it one specific child or?
Not one specific, just in general. Though.
Yeah.
We, the stories we hear are so heartbreaking.
Yeah.
People always ask me, what gets you motivated? What do you love about your job? And I can never really pinpoint it because there are so many great moments, but I do love helping all the children that we see, coming into care, their stories, life is hard. Life is harder than we could have ever imagined. And then to see them grow, to see the children grow, to see them bond with their foster family, and maybe they go back to mom and dad and that looks beautiful and things have blossomed for them, but to let them know that life isn't always hard. And there is a support system. We as an agency are a huge support system for the children and for the families and for the biological families themselves.
It's hard. Life is hard enough as it is when being an adult and trying to deal with it. It's almost like, wow, a child should not have to do that.
It's true.
So what is, let's say there's someone that's listening and they're they've never considered it, but now they're thinking, okay, well, could I ever be a foster mom? What are some things that you would have them think about to really identify if that could be something that they could do?
Yeah, we look for families that are just open to learning new tactics, especially when it comes to parenting.
Yeah.
Sometimes things that might have worked with one child might not work with another, and to just keep an open mind.
Yeah.
And somebody that's really, wanting to make a change, wanting to help the children grow,
Yeah.
And heal and become the best version of themselves. Families that have open rooms availability. Sometimes families come to me and they think they have the space, but they don't have the space, in their home. Not necessarily their heart, but in their home. Like, you can't just put a kid in a closet, or you can't just throw them in the basement. You really have to make the space, just like if they're your own.
Right. I mean, this is a moment in time that could really change the path of an individual's life. And so, I mean, I would love to try to find ways that we can help get the word out, try to find families, because there are so many people that live in this region. It's when I've seen some of the numbers, I just thought, oh my gosh, that many people in Fredericksburg, and you're talking about 200 children, or a little over 200. It's something that seems feasible, and that we should come together and find a way.
Yeah.
But how do people apply? Like, what is that process of, all right, I want to foster. What do they go through?
So they usually go to our website first, and they click on to join an information session.
Okay.
Or they contact me directly, which is fine as well. And then I talk to the family, what is it that they're looking for? What is it that they're looking to get out of it? What do they want to give back? Because it's not just about ourselves, it's about what we can do for the children and for the family. Wow. And so we just see if we're on the right page, Every agency is different, every person's different, and so we have to be on the same page moving forward.
Do you have more older children right now, younger children? Like, what is that, I guess, makeup looks like right now with your company?
Yeah, we do have a lot more older children.
Okay.
We have a great need for teens, and we really are looking for families that would take the tough teens. They're always the ones that are left behind, but they sometimes need it more because they've been through multiple homes, or they've been incredibly traumatized, and their trauma is coming out in their aggression, and all they really need is someone to be there for them and help them through the tough times. To know that life isn't always hard.
It's almost like it's a front, and if they had a little bit of time with someone that showed that they care.
Yeah.
I work primarily at the Y, and we do partner with several nonprofits, and a lot of them have at-risk children. And we've started like a tennis academy, and just taking the time and having these adults come in and the children see that they're here just to help. We've seen, it's been going on for like a year, but we've seen a difference, and that's one day a month.
Yeah.
One day. Yeah. So, okay.
So could you imagine what that would be like
no,
every single day?
I want to start adopting.
You know who to call.
I know exactly who to call. Well, do you guys do any fundraisers? So where do the kids stay?
Yeah, so the children come from the Department of Social Services.
Okay.
And so depending on the situation is depending on where they are at the moment. And then if we have the right family for them, then we could make a placement. But sometimes we don't have the family,
right,
and they get passed to another agency, or...
Where are they staying during this time? Do they...
It depends.
Yeah.
Sometimes they could be in just somebody's office if it's a quick 24-hour turnaround. They could be in a residential facility. They could know that they're coming into care for whatever reason, and it's in a month from now, and we just know that it's going to happen.
Yeah.
So there's all different circumstances. But,
right.
But there is a place for them temporarily, always.
Yeah, I know. It just...
This
is not going to end here, because I feel like there's so much more that we could do as a community to really just be a part of the children's life. Even if we can't foster it, are there things that people can do? Can they donate? Can they... obviously monetary donations could help, but it's still not finding a family. But are there services that you partner with other companies with to offer these children some benefits, or?
Yeah, so we not necessarily benefits
right,
per se, but we're always looking for donations.
Yeah.
Whether monetary donations are great, because as a nonprofit, our hands are tied with certain things, and sometimes we send the kids back. Say somebody ends up in the hospital for whatever reason, and we send them back home, and then they go back to the hospital or forth, and what if we could make something different? What if we could pay for a certain type of therapy or a certain need that they need to make a big change.
Yeah.
But sometimes we just, we don't always have the funds for that. So we started a new campaign.
Okay.
It's called Campaign Heal.
Okay.
Helping empower all lives. And our hope is to raise at least $5,000 in the next annual year. So that's from July to July, to help provide for those extra things.
What would some of those extra things be? Like
therapy.
Okay.
Or assistive devices for kids with medical handicaps. Behavioral tools.
And so you're saying in the next year you're looking at raising $5,000.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Which doesn't seem like a ton in the large scheme of business.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. But we really want to make a difference. I took this position almost a year ago. It'll be a year and just a couple weeks. And
congratulations.
Thank you. And when I started, I really, I had never heard of UMFS, even doing some work with Fairfax DSS, and so my goal, because I'm not going to leave UMFS. I already know that.
Yep.
They already know that. They can't get rid of me. But I really want to make a big change in the community for the youth in foster care, for tough teens, for girls who are struggling, for just children in general. How can we advocate for the youth to a greater level? What can we provide for the foster kids, and make a real name for our agency in the community.
That's incredible. And you only being here just shy of a year, that's amazing.
Thank you.
And there's a lot, and unfortunately you started your year in the worst, not started, but like it led into one of the worst or best, who knows how this will turn out, but years. So to be able to navigate through that, that's incredible.
Yeah, and the agency is so great navigating through this. We have not shut down. We just learned new ways to do things, and I think a lot of companies are doing that, which is kind of the fun part, being creative and learning how to adjust and how can we provide for the families during this time so that the kids stay healthy and the families stay connected, because the last thing we would want is for a child to be displaced during this time.
Oh my gosh. There's so much uncertainty, and at least in the households, like the children look up to the parents for security, comfort, and to not have that, I still call my parents.
I call my mom at least 5 times a day.
You see the memes. When you're a kid, you get aggravated with her, but now if she doesn't answer on that first ring when you're calling, you call her when you're at the doctor's. 100%. Wow, that's amazing. We're going to come back to all that you're doing. Let's talk a little bit about how the pandemic has affected you. Have you done anything different? Have you picked up a hobby?
No, not really.
I started roller skating, for example.
Did you?
Yes.
Oh, that's so fun.
It's not attractive, and I do it when no one else is around. But I thought, why not?
Yeah.
And it was hard to get skates, first off, because everybody started to get them. So nothing like, no little things, or have you done something or realized you've been able to appreciate something more now that the pandemic has happened?
I appreciate, this is just going to throw it out there, but I do appreciate a lot of things.
Yeah.
I was sick for
you
a
seem
long
like
time.
it, for sure.
So I appreciate even the little things, but we've been doing a lot of home projects.
Okay. That has to feel good.
It is. Yeah, it does.
Frustrating though, right? Because you're working as a team.
With the kids having it. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But usually I hire people. There's a few DIYs that we do, but often we just call somebody local to help us.
So, but have you gotten some big projects done?
We have. We're working on our pantry right now, which has been, it sounds so
exciting though.
It's so exciting for a female.
So exciting.
And that's going to sound totally stereotypical. But when we moved in our condo, we had built-ins put in, because in a condo you don't have space.
Right.
And it was a nice walk-in, beautiful pantry.
Yeah.
And so, and I like things super organized.
Oh, yeah.
That became a thing when my husband and I got married, because he would ask me where the ketchup was 500 times and love him to death, but it was still right there.
Right there.
So I started labeling everything and getting it super organized. And so now it's
you have to label ketchup.
Right. And so now it's become a thing. And so every time I would go to Costco and we would come back, I'd come back with all this stuff. And he finally looked at me and said, in the beginning of the pandemic, stop rearranging the kitchen. Stop rearranging the pantry. Go get an estimate and get it done.
Yeah.
So that has been, it's almost completed. It'll be completed next week. We demoed it ourselves and had it painted. And so we're just waiting for the install. But that is super fun. And we're about to get a fence because, we back up to the common area in our neighborhood, which is why we loved it, because you can see the playground from our kitchen, and so the kids can play and they can still be safe, and we're there. But you can't touch the playground. So because we back up to the commons and we don't have really anything to protect us, we can't put anything in our yard for the kids, and you have to get more creative at home and doing different things. So we'd really like to build the backyard for the kids to play in and do some fun stuff. So we're working on that.
I mean, you working with children and being very, not hypersensitive, but knowing what mental health could be to children, like you're more aware of it than I think a lot of us are. How have you seen your children kind of adapt, or like have they done anything that's kind of innocent but cute because of the pandemic?
My kids like to play, my daughter loves to play Barbies and LOL dolls, and my son plays because he's the brother, and that's what you do. And constantly they're playing about wearing your mask. And do you have your mask on? Because we're going to the grocery store. Oh, you can't get in the car. I can't go, Barbie, because you don't have your mask on. And they're like making masks for the kids, and it's been really fun. And just watching them, being home with them and watching just the little things. They're so funny. They're getting 4 and almost 6, or 4 and 5, and just they start to finally have that personality. And the humor just cracks me up sometimes.
It's funny when you start to see them thinking on their own, and they come up with their own ideas that are not rooted from you. And I made this joke on my social media the other day, which people thought it was hilarious, but when you're tired and you say 5 more minutes, please. Okay, just mommy will get up. Just give me a minute. Well, now my daughter was like, I'm ready to show me something. And I said, just give me a minute. But she walks her little tail over and goes, Alexa, set a minute timer. And I was like, okay. Because I was like, it hasn't been a minute yet. Well, now she knows. And I just thought, oh my gosh. I didn't even know I could use timers on Alexa. And they just have been able to understand and comprehend technology. And now that they're going to have to be, a lot of the counties are virtual, or if it gets to be a private school, but they're still going to have to do things differently and use technology in a way. I'm so excited to see what they will be like. What jobs are they going to be really good at, that generation? How are they going to think of things? Because they went through such a trying time. It's not over yet. We don't even know what it's going to be like. So
exactly. And hopefully it's nothing worse, We're hopeful, but flu season's coming up, so we'll see what happens. I know. We got to really start listening and just doing exactly what, the experts say, because I don't know how to make my own judgment and say, you know what, I don't think it's that important, or I'm just going to listen and just do because if it's not making a change, wearing a mask, like if it's really not doing good, it's not doing any bad. So the chance of it doing good, I'll take it. Exactly.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so do you have anything coming up for UMFS? Do y'all do any events, any fundraiser, like we have this one, our Give Day just happened, but it was, we wait for it all year. It fell on Taco Tuesday. So do y'all do anything like that coming? Oh, it's so much fun.
We are working on a monthly event.
Okay.
I'm still working on September's. I don't have anything confirmed. My hope is to partner with a couple of different restaurants in the community. And have a portion of the proceeds go back to our agency for Campaign Heal. But I haven't confirmed anything yet, so we'll see how that goes.
Do you guys have a Facebook page?
We do.
Okay, so what is the Facebook page?
It's just for UMFS.
UMFS. And what does that stand for anyone who might not know?
It stands for United Methodist Family Services.
Okay.
120 years ago, which is when we started.
Wow.
Right?
That is amazing.
Yeah. Very, very. We celebrated 120th this year, so it's been really fun.
That had to have been fun.
It's been a lot of fun. We were going to have this big party too, but COVID, so eventually we'll get there.
That's like the excuse, even at my children. Oh, Corona.
Yeah.
We can't go, Corona.
Yeah.
Like, COVID. Yeah. It's fine.
But eventually we'll get there. But we used to be partnered with the United Methodist Church.
That's okay.
And so we were an orphanage back in the day as a part of the church. And we keep the name for sentimental purposes. Yeah. We still do some, they still provide us donations and have some good ties with us, which is very, very lovely.
Well, if someone was listening and wanted to offer some ideas for fundraising events, or if they wanted to partner with you, or if they wanted to ask any questions, how could they get in contact with you?
I can always drop my information in the comments,
Okay.
and they can contact me directly.
Okay, so through the website too, they have any emails and all that?
Yeah, it's in there as well. They can probably Google search me.
Yeah.
A lot of our families come in and say they found it because they saw me on Google.
Oh,
which,
wow.
Yeah, you know.
It scares me, I'll tell you. Google, and I pay for the ads for the why, but when I'm thinking of something or I mention it under my breath and then it pops up, I just, I just don't ask. That's what I'm saying. I just won't ask. I won't think about it.
Yeah, no.
It makes my life a little easier, and so whatever. So they find you on Google. That's interesting.
Yeah, they said I'm usually at the top of the search bar when they're looking for fostering in the area, and my name pops up, which is it's pretty funny. If you think about it, but it means I'm doing a good job.
It means you're doing a great job. It means that the algorithm or whatever Google's using sees that you are a successful search. So I think that's a very big compliment.
Thank you.
Well, for anyone who, again, is contemplating this decision or that is listening and thinking of it for the first time, what's something you would like to leave them with? If it's like just something to think about, if it's how big the impact of fostering a child like in the right way, like the impact it could have, what would you tell them right now?
The impact it can have is really to bring a child from devastation, a child without any hope, and to give them that hope, because as I mentioned, life is not always hard. Yeah. Some of the small things that we personally think are really hard, take it 100 times worse. And these kids have possibly faced that.
Yeah.
A child who might have been beaten by mom or dad, or witnessed their father beat their mother.
Yeah.
Or became the mom because the mother couldn't step up and do it herself. Or the parents don't have the money to pay for their kids. And so the mom and dad give them up, and they feel like they're not wanted. Just to imagine the feeling of not having that person to call.
Yeah.
Like you and I were saying how we call our mom.
Exactly. Yeah.
Who do they call when they need somebody to talk to? There isn't somebody.
Yeah.
And so I'm hoping to get more families to be that somebody.
Yeah.
For them to give hope, to allow the kids to dream, and to really bridge the gap with the biological family, to let the family know that they're not alone either, and that whatever they're struggling with, they have a support system.
How long does fostering on average, like how long, if someone were to sign up to be a foster parent or to ask the questions, what would you tell them on an average time span of being a foster parent, how long it lasts?
So it can last, to be honest, as long as they want it to.
Yeah.
Maybe not with the same child, but on average, a child's placement is about 18 months, could be more. Some become permanent foster kids, some do go back to mom or dad, some do get adopted, some it extends greater,
right.
But on average it's about 18 months.
Okay, that's, 18 months of, your time, and you could still live your life, but to make a change and, ultimately be like that saving grace to take the weight of the world off of a child.
It's so true.
And they're here in Fredericksburg, just waiting.
Yeah.
How do people see the children? Like, how do you place them? Do you place the children with the foster families?
We do. So we have a caseworker or multiple caseworkers. We have an amazing, I call her like a mama hen. She's, the trainer to all the families, and basically like the mama hen who's there through thick and thin, and helps with placement as well. We have a great, just a great team.
Yeah.
Our program manager, she's exceptional.
Yeah.
And all of us, somebody is there to see the placement through, and to watch the entire journey, and to know that they're not just going to be placed and then left behind.
Right,
We're going to be there, and they're going to expect us to be like a family, coming in their house and checking on things and helping them and giving them things that they might need, school supplies or book bags, or, just during this time, or whatever they might need that they can't get right off the bat.
Okay, so that relationship doesn't end. Like, you still have provide resources and provide the foster families with support.
Correct. Yeah,
that's so
it
important.
doesn't, and even after the fact too.
Yeah.
You know, we still have families that fostered and you know, stopped for whatever reason, and they're still a part of our family. They still come and to functions and things like that. You know, once you become a UMFS family, you are a part of our family, and we treat you just like we would our own children.
Well, that's awesome. Well, I learned quite a bit today, and I thank you for your time, because I think that what you're doing is life-changing. I mean, I don't think it, I know that's life-changing, and we get so caught up in what we're dealing with, and you know, how does the Y survive during the pandemic, and we're forgetting about the youth in the community who's really suffering. And I feel like you're going to make that goal. I'm going to make it, is that a proclamation, right? I'm going to make that, or whatever you call it, by now until next July, and we will have helped in some way. That 5,000 is going to be surpassed for sure.
Thank you.
Is there anything that you would like to say? Anything left?
I would like to say thank you to you
Oh.
and to the Y. So before COVID, you know, we partnered with the Spotsy Y to have our support groups there, and we are so excited when we're able to come back, because it's going to be so great for the kids to have that experience.
Yeah.
And a great space for the families to really continue their training and learn. And get the extra support. So we thank you for all that you're doing for us as well, and for the community.
I mean, that's what we're all about. That's what community is about.
It's true.
And we do have, we did a membership special last week, because we're trying to get people back, because fighting COVID, the biggest thing is staying active. It is for your mental health, but to be healthy if you ever do come across, you know, the virus, and that's how you beat it. And we had a community member purchased 2 memberships, and I have them on my desk, and we want to donate those memberships for you to give to 2 of the foster families.
Thank you so much.
No, absolutely.
Thank
so
you.
I cannot wait to meet, and hopefully things get back to a little bit of normalcy, right?
Certainly. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, everyone, for listening today. We were with Angela Rivers with UMFS, talking about how you can foster a child here in Fredericksburg. I will see you next week with another episode of Reiley's Roundup.